Hello, and thank you for joining us for a little bit of extra content for Emergence. Spencer and I are just here to talk about Neander and what could be in the cards for our beloved Warlock. So first off, Spencer, thank you so much for indulging in this conversation, and we'll see what comes up.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And anything I'm not sure when this conversation will get published, but
Mm.
I guess we'll keep in mind spoilers for Neander, because Spencer and
Yeah.
you and I know Neander's whole deal, and we have an idea about where his story may eventually lead.
Yeah.
But of course, things can change, and we'll get into some of that in a little bit. But first off, I guess just like a general question. Also, I don't think I've ever asked. I think I call you Spence a lot. Do you care? Have I asked you that before?
I don't care.
Okay.
You can call you can call me Spencey. You can call me Spence, Spencer. Some of my friends call me Pops because I'm usually the oldest of the group. So like, it's really, yeah, you can call me whatever. So
I have a tendency to shorten people's names, and then I never remember to ask if they're okay with that. Because any friend I have named Ben, I will eventually start calling them Benji, and then I'm like, wait a second, are you okay with that?
yeah, what you've been calling me is fine.
Cool.
It's totally fine.
That's a relief. I've actually
Like no,
hated every
Jake, you've
moment
been
of
calling
it.
me. I hate my name actually. So no, don't.
Dude, I listen. I understand. So first up, I guess just so far, we're using a homebrew setting and a brand new system for all of us. What have been like your general thoughts, kind of stepping into this game, as far as just a homebrew setting, new system? How has that been for you? Kind of just jumping into it.
Yeah, so a new system can be intimidating, right? I think for all of us, and I think it's kind of it's great because we're all going through that at the same time. Like, what can we do? And we all are. There's a solidarity in the sense of on all of our screens we have like 10 tabs
Yeah.
open for what we can do for our
Yeah.
characters, right? Um, but I'm loving it because I think it also taps in like most of us have been playing D&D for years at this point, right? And so
Yep.
we're tapping into what we first like being new to D&D, right? From that standpoint, like, oh, we can do this, and the
Yeah.
same with level up. Like, oh, that's so cool. I can do this, I can do that, and you there's beauty and there's a fun in failing, right? And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, you can't do that. I'm like, well, can we try it? Let's try some
Yeah.
things. And I think that's the beauty of it because it's sure it takes a lot of inspiration from Dungeons and Dragons, the mechanics of it, but it also allows for people who like to role play like me to like I can actually do something that I've wanted to do, but I can't do within the system of D and
Yeah.
D, right? So it's I love it. I think we learn fast, especially when we play. Like I'm a warlock main in D&D, so like I'm a warlock in this. Surprise!
Yeah.
If you don't know, I'm a warlock.
If you haven't
Yeah.
put it together.
Um, but like I think it's beautiful because I know how to play a warlock, and but then like there's just some new stuff. I'm like, I wish they had this in
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons. So it's a beautiful thing. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I was for in my home game. My best friend is playing. He's playing a marshal, which is great because he's gonna outsmart me at some point, and he has the mechanics to do so. But in the martial class, there are abilities for like jumping in front of the arrow. Like you can use a reaction to like give someone advantage on a dexterity save, or like take the damage instead of someone else. So like I feel like there's a lot of, especially in like the kind of the more role play theatrical side of D&D, there's like that desire to have those cool cinematic moments, but there aren't really the mechanics to back it up. And I like that,
Yeah,
like there seems to be a little bit more of that in A5e because it is such a crunchier system that a
yeah,
lot of a lot of that stuff is mechanized, I guess, if that makes sense.
yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I mean, just even having an ability of like culture,
Yeah.
What do we use that for? Like, what do we use that? And
Yeah.
like, we're going on that, like, oh, that I guess that makes sense for culture. Like, instead of like using a history check, like,
Yeah.
what do you know about this city? Like, okay, no, what do you know about this culture? Right? That's,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's been such a fun skill, especially like with to bring it to Neander, someone who has that like nobility
hmm
background. This is someone who would know specifically about like etiquette and shit like that, and
yeah.
it's been handy for me as a GM to be able to throw that to you and to have that mechanical thing to back up the idea of it. Speaking of like talking about like being familiar with D&D, what I'm very curious. I think you've mentioned it before, but what was your like first TTRPG experience? Like, did you start out with like 5e, or
Yeah.
did you like find your way through other stuff?
It started off with 5e. Um, Long-winded answer of like how I got into TTRPGs. I my home GM, Mark, we actually had our first session back of the year last night.
Yeah.
Great session. But we I've been playing with Mark since what, like 4 years now. So I've been playing D&D TTRPGs for like 4.5 years.
Hell yeah.
But we are friends. Like my brother and I were friends with our group. We play a lot of Kickstarter board games. Like if you I don't know if you played like Rising Sun, Ankh, all those things. We play
Yeah.
those. Like we start off with Catan. We don't you play Catan. We haven't played Catan in years because it's just like that's easy for
Yeah.
us, you know. And then so we were playing a game, and Mark was like, "Y'all," told my brother and I, like, "You guys should try D&D," and we were like, "No, that's just ultra nerd shit.
Yeah.
No." And then he's like, "Just try it out," and we did it. And my brother still plays it. He's not as into it as I am, obviously, but I play it, and I think it. Yeah, it was just a beautiful thing of like I'm a huge Lord of the Rings nerd too.
Yeah.
And like on my bookshelf, I have like all the encyclopedias of Middle Earth, the hidden languages of Middle Earth, like all
Yeah.
these different things, right? And it was just like little kid me wish he had this, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I just get lost in TTRPGs. I love different systems. And it's basically adults get to play make believe, and it's so
Yeah.
fun. It's basically
Is.
it's fun. Yeah.
Dude, I love that. I got my brother into it, and my brother's been one of like my regular players, like since he's been playing, and it's really
Yeah.
cool to like kind of have that way for me to hang out with him, and like it's another thing for
Right.
us to talk about and bond over. But hell yeah, dude, that's awesome. I I think it's funny. Just I think we in this group we have a wide range as far as like how like for how long people have gotten into TTRPGs and how they found their way there.
Yep.
Because I know like for me, I got invited to play D&D, and I was just like a fantasy nerd and a theater kid, and they were like, "You'd like this," and I was like, "Yeah, let's give it a try."
Yeah.
But with this campaign specifically, let's talk a little bit about Neander, without giving away any
Let's talk
spoilers,
about
of
him.
course, because Lord
Yeah.
knows you've sent me some really awesome stuff that I can't wait to explore in the campaign. But until then, kind of give like in your own way, like give a little rundown as far as like Neander, like who he is and his overall vibe.
Yeah. Neander. If you've ever seen the anime Black Clover, Neander is like Julius Novachrono in a sense of the Wizard King, in a sense of he can be serious and wise when he needs to be, but really he's just a little kid in a grown man's body, and he gets excited about little things.
Yeah.
But he's an elf. He's seen a lot of shit, so he can be
Yeah.
wise when he needs to be. He can be charming. He is a flirt when he needs to be. Um, yeah, he's just an overall lover boy, you know? Like that's Neander.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been one of the the pretty consistent things is like that Neander that comes up with Neander is the fact that he is so much older than the rest of the party, but he
Yeah.
does still have that wonder in him. I think that's something that
Yep.
tends to get a little tropey with like older elven characters. Is there like I am old and I have aged out of being a normal guy. But Neander is
Yeah.
someone who's like, it feels like from my perspective, it feels like, in spite of his age, he's like finally taking the opportunity to like do the things he would have done when he was a kid, if not for like maybe the
Yeah.
environment he was raised in or something like that.
Yeah, I think, and that trope you mentioned, that was a when I was thinking about okay, his backstory and everything like that. I was like, okay, there needs to be a reason why this elf that's he looks 25, but he's really 250 years old. Like, why is he going out for the first time? Like, why is there so much whimsy and wonder? And yeah, because he's been paraded as this like thing, this fae of this human house,
Yeah.
right? So he could leave, but like he kind of felt bound, but
Yeah.
also like he had to figure out for years or centuries it really who he was outside of like get the courage to figure out okay like let's go on this journey to figure out who I am outside of this house,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's where we see him now. He's trying to figure that out.
Yeah. Was there anything? I know you mentioned the character from I think Black Clover. You said I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
I don't watch a lot of anime, unfortunately.
it's so good. It's so good.
I'll,
So
I'll
good.
I'll add it to the list.
Yes, it's so good.
Were there any like were there any other like specific inspirations for Neander as far either with like aesthetics or like his vibe, his abilities, or things like that? Was there anything specifically you were like, I love this. I'm going to take a little piece of that and put it into Neander.
I always, I love playing elves. Like, if you are a fan of Lord of the Rings, you love elves, right?
Yeah.
I just love the elves.
Yeah, I'm a dwarf guy
And
myself, unsurprisingly.
I like dwarves, but there's something about like the etherealness of elves, right? I just love that, and so my first character I ever played, I'm still playing him to this day. Lucian, he's an elf. He's a half moon elf, half drow, crown prince, assassin.
Yeah.
Right.
Rad.
And how I played, how like Neander, I looked at it. I was like, Neander and Lucian are kind of like the same in the sense of Lucian has silver hair,
Yeah.
Neander has silver hair, but I play them very different. Whereas they're both noble, but like okay, Lucian's a prince, but he doesn't want the crown, right? Neander, he's a noble of a human house. He like seceded his crown because he's
Yeah.
like, why would I need? I am a long-lived person, right? And so I also okay, how basically it was like how do I put Lucian in a warlock?
Yeah.
Because I didn't before then. My first character was like I want to play Legolas, but
Yeah.
I don't want to be a ranger. So like, let's just do that. I didn't want to shoot arrows. I want to get in there. And so how do I now that I know that I like playing warlocks? How do I put Lucian in a warlock? But then there was always something like that coming of age thing. Okay, like who am I, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's needs for this specific campaign. I realized I need a character that I will have the time to really create their story.
Yeah.
And flesh out, and also that would challenge me as a player as a storyteller, really,
Yeah.
to take the audience in that. And I think Neander, I hope you agree, based on what you know about him, will give me that opportunity.
I definitely agree. I know, like, based on with what you've given me for his backstory, and also like as a GM, like you gave me a lot of really good hooks to like kind of sprinkle some stuff throughout the story that even in episode 1 we were getting into with like that mysterious voice he heard, and just sort of giving me the tools to like fully work Neander into the world, and hopefully without giving too much away to the audience.
Right.
There's a couple I always get like a couple different vibes of backstories from players. They'll either do like a complete written up thing where it's like every detail about the character, and then it's like everything from the character's point of view, so it's like everything the character knows is what they write. And then there's people who just do like some loose bullet points and ideas, and I love all three of those. And you presented me more of the first with like quite a lot of detail as far as like where Neander's story can go, and the way you presented it to me and the way you wrote it as well got me excited and inspired as a storyteller to be like, ooh, you've given me things to put into my world, uh, and that's just so fun. And I hope Neander lives long enough for some of that stuff to
Yeah, I hope
pop
so
up.
too. I hope so too, because I don't have a backup. I don't have
Hey,
a backup.
hey, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. With because yeah, your other character was like an assassin and up in the mix, but in 5e, how has it been not only like switching from like that kind of like assassin vibe with this this inspiration of character to a warlock, and then specifically like the system switch itself, like we talked earlier about some of
Yeah.
those mechanical things, but has there been any specific either moments or rules or anything like that that have been either challenging or interesting as far as like now working this character into a new system?
I think for me, and I think just playing a warlock, right? We only get so many slots, if you will, like
Yeah.
pack slots, right? And I think for me, yeah, pack slots, right? And
Yeah.
I think when we had that first combat, it was very much like I can't do this, I can't do that.
Yeah.
But then on the next time I did it, I was like, oh no, because hex is a spell slot, right? Sure, but then within A5e, there's the Spellbinder's Curse, which actually I realized I can only do that once for short rest or long rest. I've been doing that every time. So like, hey, sorry,
Hey,
Jake.
hey, we live and learn. We live and learn.
Um, but it's kind of like it's a way of like, hey, if you don't want to use your hex, you can use your Spellbinder's Curse, right? And like that can be a thing.
Yeah.
And so the reason why I like playing Warlocks is because it teaches you action economy, but also
Yeah.
okay, like Warlocks, I think are the best spellcaster that can like if you want to get in there in melee, you can, or you can just stay back.
Dude, I feel that so much. So in one of the games I play in, I'm playing we're playing 5e, and I'm doing a hexblade warlock, Pact of the Tome, not Pact of the Blade because he's a nerd. But
Half
I
the tome guy too. I want
yeah.
more spells.
One more, yeah, exactly. Thank
I
you.
want more spells. Yes.
But it is so funny because like with the party makeup, we don't really have a tank, and I have a good con score, and I've rolled good enough on hit points and have good enough armor that my warlock has essentially become the tank of the
Yeah.
party. And it's so fun to like manage those resources because the main thing, like, I get one attack, but I can use those other spells and stuff to make that one attack count. And like
Right.
really focusing on like resource management as far as like when do I want to use these spells and all that. And so I definitely feel you as like the versatility of the class, because
Yeah.
you really can do anything. I think we've already had in the encounters, we've already had Neander like stay back and play ranged and then get up into the thick of it. So I think you've
Yeah.
definitely been able, I think, to show off that Neander's like not afraid to tussle.
Yeah, like because I think too, there could possibly be like there's a sense of whimsy, and people think like, oh, Neander's never, he's not trained in battle. He's a son of a minor noble house, but he knows how to fight.
Oh
He's
yeah.
had like weapons training and stuff, so he knows how to fight. Now, has he killed people before? No, but he's seen death. So that's why
Yeah.
he's not so down when he has to kill
Yeah.
somebody. You know?
It's I think it's played out really well. Like there's multiple perspectives on death and killing in the party, ranging from being totally fine and even used to it, holding for the conversation with Royale, and all the way to like being very upset about it, holding for the conversation with Abigail.
Yeah.
And it's really cool that Neander kind of floats in the middle, where like he is a little more used to death, but killing is still a little bit of a hitch for him.
Yeah. Because he hasn't killed anything, like I guess in a sense that, in my perspective, living. He hasn't killed a human or a human.
Yeah.
He's done spirits. So like spirits, like okay, bye.
Yeah.
Spirits, but he hasn't done like he hasn't actually haven't dealt the killing blow to someone,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and kind of going from there, have there been any like narrative or mechanical moments so far that have like surprised you, maybe that like you weren't expecting, either with Neander or with playing a warlock in this system? Have there been any moments that kind of took you by surprise, either in a good or a bad way? Something that you weren't quite expecting.
I think for me, I wasn't expecting. Sometimes I surprise myself with what comes out of my mouth. I'm like, "Damn, that's really good."
Yeah. Yeah, I feel
Oh,
that.
damn, that's good. That's really good. And I think it was um, when Neander passed that check with the kids in Hollyhead when he was practicing with Eldritch Blast, right, calling down lightning, things
Yeah.
like that. And he was talking with Vela, and she asked him like, "How does it feel?" And it just came to me. I just let's roll with it. Like, I've been alive for 250 years, and the whole spiel of I've always been known as the Fae of Tyrion Valley, but in that moment they just saw me for Neander, and it was just kind of like, where did that come from,
Yeah,
Spence? That was great.
that was. I
Like,
think that's such like a defining, like kind of moment for Neander that I think really informs like the party and the audience kind of about what his deal is. Yeah. No. Oh, I lost my train of thought.
okay,
I'll cut
like
this out.
I, they're just they're like, I think I do this all the time where I'm like, I just forget
Yeah.
like how deep my mind can go, and then
Yeah.
like I just spit it out.
Dude, there.
Yeah.
I've had so many moments in a session where I say something and then I go,
I'm like, who am I?
yeah.
Like, should I write a book? Like,
What
I
did
don't
I? I
know.
think I said. I think I said in one of Cole's games. I think in Gleaming Wildfire it was. I think I said like, how many people have to die for you before you realize you're worth saving? Um, I
Jesus.
was like, oh,
Goodness.
yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, and then as far as like where the story is going now, we're only a handful of sessions in at this point,
Yeah.
but like, are there any like specific goals or things you want to see happen for Neander, either like big story wise, or if there's like that like bleeding out in the snow moment, is there like is there like a narrative or like a thematic moment that you want to see for Neander?
It's funny. Without giving too much away, there's I've thought about like what would happen, like kind of like when Neander realizes it, like not understands, but he finds what he's looking for in a
Yeah,
sense, right?
yeah,
And you know what I'm talking
I'm with
about.
you.
When he finds what he's looking for, and I've always thought of like, how would he perceive the party then,
Yeah,
right? Like, and for me, I'm like, how do I role play that?
yeah,
And it's like I know how to role play it, but it's also like, again, there's like, how do I Neander's built these relationships, but then, like, does he what that new knowledge that he has, will that change his perspective
yeah.
on certain aspects of things? Um, that's one, and then another one is just really, I can't wait to see kind of when Neander's in his element with the nobility,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, dude, I am
Because
so looking forward to that.
that's going to be because, and like, I mean, I think the only people truly, like, let's just be honest, we can knock Cal out of there. He hasn't been around rich folks before,
Yeah.
so let's see if we can.
Yeah.
But like, I can think you can make an argument for Agnew,
Yeah.
right? And then you can possibly make an argument for Bella, like Circus, right? You
Yeah.
can make an argument for that. But really, and Rain, an argument could be had there, but the Tinkerers, right? But I think Neander's really the only one who knows the social graces. Like
Yeah.
in the last episode, right? Like I think Neander stepped into his own. Like, do y'all not understand the severity of this,
Yeah.
right? And I think, and you see a different side of Neander when like he's like serious, and you kind of see in a sense his wisdom
Yeah.
in that.
No, 100%. It's been really cool to kind of see that different shade of Neander come out. And if the episode isn't published yet, y'all better fucking stick around for it because it's some good stuff, and
See some
I'm
good
really excited to
stuff.
see where it goes next. Speaking on like the kind of like the relationships that have been forming in the party, you know, all of us, as you know, I said I think before we started rolling, the only people I'd played with before were Cole and Bex, also in some streamed games that you can check out. How has it been kind of jumping in with like a brand new group, and kind of figuring out each other's vibes, because you always kind of have to work
Yeah.
out like how your character is going to interact with each other character, but then also how you as a player are going to interact with the other players. Has there been any like really like fun moments, or a moment where you like really clicked with someone or with another character?
I think um, it's interesting because I think, well, one, I think it's a testament to you. You brought together a group of people who are who are just good people first,
Yeah.
and it it comes through when they play their characters, right? And I think that's the big thing when you bring a group of random people together. Maybe you know them, some of them, maybe you don't, but you have to. It's a gauge on the person who brings them together, their character, that you're bringing in these people in, right? And so test kudos to you. But then secondly, I think to answer your question, it's hard because I'm trying to think. Like I've had moments with everyone, but I think the first moment really that I had was with Rain, right? At the hey, can I sleep here? You
Yeah.
know, and I think that was testing the waters. Like, hey, how are we gonna get along? And I think it kind of great because I think Bex and I we just bounce off each other, and I think our
Yeah.
characters have like a common deity, right? But we different aspects of knowledge that we want, and I think it kind of flavors the character relationship because Neander kind of like views Rain as like a comrade in arms or comrade in knowledge, if you will, right?
Yeah.
But also kind of like, you know, I think it could be where Neander goes to Rain for like when he needs advice,
Yeah.
right? As we go through the story. Whereas with Vela, I think there's a tie with our characters because we're both Fae, right? And I think, but Neander's like I've said this before. Neander views Vela as someone who needs to be protected, right? Like almost like a little sister, right? Like we have to protect her at all costs. And then Agnew, Neander is he doesn't know what to think. He just seems really cool. Like
Yeah. I
Neander,
think we would
he
all
just
agree
seems
with
cool. He just seems
that.
cool. Um, and I think how there's it's so interesting. I think sometimes Neander is kind of like, oh, he's attractive, but also like he's a dumb brute.
Yeah.
Oh, like it's like all these different things. He's like, what is going on? He
Yeah.
fits a stereotype, you know. But I think like I think that's what Cole was going for. But
Yeah.
there's also there's levity in it, and like Neander's like, oh, this basically this kid needs
Yeah.
help, right? And so everyone had he's had moments, but I think the first one to answer really your question is with Rain,
Yeah.
like with Bex, like that first interaction, session one, you know.
Yeah, I mean that was such a fun moment, as a GM who, like presenting a homebrew world. The fact that, and I think I mentioned it when we did our stars and wishes for that episode, but the fact that you guys like kind of jumped into inhabiting the religious system of the world, because I feel like sometimes, and he's like even speaking for me as a player, if you're not playing like a cleric or a paladin, it can be very easy to like not have your character take a religious stance, because there aren't really mechanics to support it, so it's like yeah, yeah. But the fact that like pretty much all you guys have like really dived into the gods, and the fact that like right off the bat you were like Katomi, you and me, we're in it. I thought that was really cool, especially like playing a warlock. A lot of time people don't play religious warlocks or like that unless
Yeah,
like their patron is their god.
yeah,
And this just popped into my head, but like speaking as someone who comes from a religious background, have there been any, as far as like with the religious system in the world, has there been anything that I don't know. Do you? I guess more personal curiosity. Do you tend to like play religious characters, or is it kind of like depending on the system?
I think it depends on the system. And yeah, I'm a third generation preacher's kid, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But and on a personal level, like my family, we're not religious or spiritual, and so I have a very different
Yeah.
relationship with my religion
Yeah.
than a lot of people who have had a lot of people and very it's very fair negative reactions with my religion, right? And it's fine, and it's very fair because
Yeah.
it's really I'm just blessed that my family was very different.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But I don't play now. I think within the religions of worlds of the systems, I think that can be they can make for really good character defining moments. So, for example, and to your point, where warlocks don't really use their patron as their god, right? And my very first character, Lucian, the queen of his city, his mom, she is a Sorlock, but she's the high priestess of Celestian, but she's a celestial warlock. Her patron is Celestian, the god,
Yeah.
right? And so I was like, I put that in there because like she's not going to be a cleric. Like I don't think that makes sense
Yeah.
for her, but Celestine as a patron, I
Yeah.
think that's a beautiful thing because religion is not. That's not like for them. It's not and like my DM Mark, he allows me to do a lot of things because he was like for our campaign 3 right now, he's like the basis, your backstory that you gave me is the basis of this campaign,
Yeah.
right? Right? He's like, deal with it what you will. I don't abuse it, but I told him it's like I think where Lucian's his religion is not really religious like books and
Yeah.
dogma. It's more so spiritual and stuff like that. And
I love
so
that.
with when I interact with religion, I interact it on a personal it's basically a bit of me
Yeah.
in it, right? Like sure, like everyone's relationship with the God is different. Like maybe a cleric in the world thinks like we have all these dogmas. I'm like I don't feel that, but I still feel what you're talking about. I don't like I just have to follow your dogmas, you know. And
Yeah.
I think that's I think that's how Neander feels. Like he's like Katomi is the one who can help me find knowledge,
Yeah.
right? And but also the path may not always be linear for
Yeah.
knowledge, and but like Katomi's going to guide me wherever I need to,
Hell yeah.
and which right now it's with the party, you
I
know. And so
Dude, I love that. Like to speak of some of my own experiences. I think I've mentioned it before. I have a somewhat tumultuous relationship, but like more so with like the institution of religion, and
exactly,
I love being able to express spirituality out like through these games and also in real life, but like outside of the confines of to speak plainly right now, like a lot of like Christian nationalism, because I come from a very like white Christian Baptist background that like feeds into that, and being able to explore outside of kind of like what you were saying, like the confines of like dogma and rules and all that. I think it's really awesome, and I love that you're able to kind of bring that aspect into it, because that's something that like I as a GM I never want to, and I mentioned it to you guys, I think in the Discord, like I never want to bring too much of my own baggage into the world. That's when I started when I started writing the
yeah.
Tetriadic Church. I was like, oh, I gotta pull back on this because I'm gonna save this for my home game for my brother and I to work through. This is getting too much.
Yeah. Well, also I was like, because I went to Catholic high school. I was like, huh, this was a little familiar.
Yeah.
It's a little familiar.
And then
It's
also, but then
like,
also being able to present to you guys like a somewhat more idealized and healthy system of spirituality in a world, like
yeah,
being able to say like, no, this isn't a, it may, depending on how the story goes, we may reveal corruption within the Tetriadic Church itself, but it's
right.
like it's not its whole thing. I'm not writing it to say, "Oh, look at the church people and look how fucked up they are."
Yeah.
But like, I love being able to present people who have healthy spirituality and have like differing perspectives on that and outside of that. So,
Yeah.
all that to say, I love the direction you're taking it in and kind of the aspects of spirituality you're able to express with that. Yeah, that's all the points, all the talking points I had written down. Were there any just like thoughts you wanted to share about like kind of how things been going with Neander, or I feel like you've kind of given a pretty clear picture about like who he is and where you as a player are bringing him from.
Yeah, like I think this is for it's just like a bit of advice for anyone who plays anyone with a noble background, right? Like people tend to think that, oh, you played a noble background, you're just a rich kid,
Yeah.
right? And there's so much there if you're playing a noble background, right? Like I'm playing my first character, I went for the big one. I'm playing
Yeah.
Crown Prince. Why would I do that? But no, and then like even throughout how I play him, he doesn't really want it, but like he
Yeah.
knows there's a sense of duty, right? But then with Neander, he's a rich kid, but he's not that rich. He's a
Yeah.
from a minor noble house, right? And but there's also a sense of whimsy, and I think not all nobles are bad, and I think at the same time there's also like nobles. First off, nobles just don't spend money just to spend. They got to be rich for somehow,
Yeah.
right? So like,
They got
it's
bills.
kinda like, yeah, they have bills, and I think like there's I basically all that to say like you don't have to play nobles the way that you think they should. You don't have to play them like a Lannister,
Yeah.
or you can play them like a Stark.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you can play them like a
100%.
Stark. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, dude. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for the conversation, and
Yeah.
I hope everybody has enjoyed getting a little bit more insight on this. And thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you tune in for the next episode, as well as the next character conversation. Unless this is the last one that's uploaded, probably won't be, but who
No.
knows?
Yeah.
I am amazing at managing this campaign. But we'll see you next time, guys. Thank you so much.